For this trip, it's Street League first, and then I'm gonna go skate with Jake and Tom, if they're down, I hope. They're in Hawaii right now, so coming back maybe today or tomorrow, and then I'll meet up with them. But I'm staying for 2 weeks after with my friend Justin Albert, who I've filmed out here with like 2 or 3 times before. We've got an Airbnb in Shoreditch, right off Brick Lane. Loving it, it's amazing. Fully over it, fully healthy, and having a lot of fun skating. It was different back then because I was going to school too. So I was most excited about what I was doing every day, which was studying and going to class and hanging out with all these people. Hard to be excited about skating. Well, I guess that's not really true. It's kind of more that I had put skating to the side on purpose out of like kind of a spiteful act of me. I was over it. I was over it for sure. But I put it off to the side and still skated, but without the hype, without the excitement. And after I graduated, as I was graduating in the last months, you know, I was healthy again, and I was coming to the realization that I wouldn't go straight into a grad program for literature for what I wanted to do, just because it was so difficult and because I had all these opportunities that, yeah, I don't know. It was the responsible thing to do, and I think anybody in my situation would have done it, but it was just taking time for me to come to realize that. So once I realized it, I just opened up and embraced it, and skating is so much more fun now, and I nerd out over it really hard, and I don't know, I don't feel as fickle. I don't feel like the relationship with skating is as fickle as before, maybe because there was so much pressure. I had so many opportunities, so it felt like anything I chose, saying to myself, if I go down this path in life, it better be worth it. And so I wanted to explore those opportunities. And then when I realized, like, oh, there aren't as many open doors as you thought, like we all have these paths, and I've, just by hanging around in the skate world, I've made a path for myself and made all these opportunities, so it would be silly if I don't take that. And once I realized that, then here I am, and it's not, you know, I still get as bummed out over missing tricks, not making a trick in a certain city or whatever, getting footage for a video part, but it's not like that's going to affect me. Yeah, I mean, you've got such an amazing potential at that age to do something that no one's ever done, you know? And that's what I felt all the time, like, if you do something with enough passion and you're in the right place at the right time, good circumstances, you can fucking blow people's minds. And that was like, I really, what I wanted to do was just like, it seems funny now because it's a youthful idea, but I still back it so hard. I just wanted to skate really hard and then be done with it. I didn't want to have that lasting, like the burning out. Looking forward, you don't have the best view of what's to come. You just imagine a repetition that's just so boring. You imagine this repetition where you're always stuck doing one trick, the trick you've been the best at for the past years, and you'll just keep running that trick and bigger stairs or whatever. But when you actually start living it and you see all the opportunities that come, and then the way that your tastes change, like with Anthony Papalardo, you know? So from mosaic to fully flared, he changed the skating quite a bit, you know? Went more into like the punk rock. I mean, I'm sure that's totally off, but like there's some sort of punk rock attitude going on in that part. A bit like less technical tricks, Manhattan as opposed to Flushing, you know? And for me at the time, growing up, young kid, in love with his mosaic part, I was bummed out on his fully flared part. Now looking back, I'm stoked on it. But for him, it must have been so interesting to go through those changes at that time. You know, I don't know if he was dealing with injuries, could have been true, but to see that development firsthand and to live through it is so much more exciting than it seems when you're just envisioning, oh, what am I gonna do with the rest of my career? Just another fucking double set, like a bigger one? So yeah, going through all this, I don't know. I've become more responsible, but it's way more fun than I thought it would be. Because everything is marketing and everything is self-progression. They're just two lenses to look at it. You know, on the one side, like Andrew Reynolds has done a great job of marketing, but he hasn't reinvented himself. He's gotten bigger and better. He's got that frontside flip, and we know it so well. It's like the Coca-Cola advertisement. Boom, you know? But also, if you meet Andrew Reynolds now, he's so focused. That is his personality, to do those frontside flips continually that well. Like he's very nitpicky. He's very precise with every aspect of his board, of his getup. Like, it's all there. His shoes. So it is. Yeah, I think the marketing thing is always a worry, but it's just always there. You know, like the way that, because in skating, that's we're these individual celebrities. You're always, whatever you do is marketing. Well, so the first thing that made me consider it, I had had opportunities to enter a couple times in the past, and I've refused them straight out because I don't like competitions. I don't like skate contests. I don't do well in them. I've never really done well in them. It's not a format in which I really excel. So, I don't like contests. And I don't particularly like Street League because, as every skater knows, like the scoring is just wild. But out there today, it was pretty funny because you see how personal it is, how personalized and how different it is. There are skaters doing really hard tricks and they don't get scored so highly, and others who do a simpler trick and they get a higher score, and that makes sense to me. You know, if I look at it like I thought they were looking at it, which was, you know, charting it on a graph, then that wouldn't make sense. The chart doesn't work. But if I just like go with a personal gut reaction, which trick did I like better, then I'll be like, oh yeah. So the scoring, initially I was so opposed to it, but now it's kind of all right. And then it's a major corporation with all of those problems. Like on Free Skate Mag, there was that beautiful article recently written pointing out a bunch of great things. But the first thing that made me think about it this time was that they advanced me straight to the qualifiers. So that was the opportunity that it popped up, and okay, I realized that I actually have to consider whether or not I should do this without just throwing it out the window right away. And what came up from deep within me was this thing where, I knew immediately I would say, I can't do well. But then secondly, I said, what if I could do well? Because it takes, I don't know. There were years at Tampa Am when I was first hooked up by Habitat, first getting on the team, I said, I just need to go show face and like skate around. And I would just do random shit that really, it was basically like, I was just being insecure. Like, I don't have to skate. I'm already on Habitat, it's all good. So there's a battle there between like, the reason I was doing that was because I was insecure, but can I beat that insecurity and actually enter a huge contest like this with all these people who obviously I'm hardly in their league because of the way they train for it. Like, you know, seeing these dudes do kickflip, backtail, big spins, you know, I can do those on street. I can film it in a part, but to do it every fucking try is like a whole different ballpark. So it was a hard thing for me to do, to overcome that insecurity and get in it. So that was a challenge for me that I entered it and I was like, okay, can I do this? But then also there was money. And I looked at it and I said, I actually read this beautiful article by Ocean Howell that he wrote when he was still going to school. It's like a 20-page thing. He's writing about the first X Games in '95 or so, when Costin did it and all these dudes, and they were being really vocal about how we're only doing it for the money. Fuck X Games, fuck these major corporations, they're not cool, this is not what skating's about, we're only doing it for the money, we're taking the check and leaving. But what Ocean Howell points out is that they really fucked up there, because that was the ticket that X Games was waiting for. They didn't have that opportunity before. Nobody had taken the money yet, and they couldn't get into this industry that was so punk rock, so cool, so anarchist, so countercultural. And they knew it would make tons of money, they just couldn't get in, and so Costin and those dudes, they blew it. No disrespect, I'm doing the same thing here, but now it's a different context. Now it's a different context, and it's not like the number one thing that I'm hyped, like good coverage for me. It's not the best coverage, but it is just, for me, that's what I had to weigh. It wasn't that bad that I was doing it only for the money, kind of, because there was also this personal struggle, and I was like, can I get out there and do some hard tricks while these dudes are making me feel insecure about how fucked up the tricks they're doing are. So that, yeah, it was a huge internal battle, and I talked to a lot of friends, and they all gave me some great advice, and now I'm here. Stefan Janowski says, no ambition, no achievement. I think that's it. But zero ambition, zero achievement. And that's totally not me. I'm totally into contests. I mean, competition, actually. Not contests, because I don't like the format of them, but the idea of competition, because it gives you that edge that you need, as if you're climbing up a wall, just like somebody to bump you up. And I do get like, I get a little bit, I don't know, I just get competitive and I see people doing a trick and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna one up them, I got this. But at the same time, I realize that it's not a crazy ego thing, and I know I can check myself. It's a funny thing that I can mess around with, an emotion that builds up crazy because you feel it so deeply when you're out there and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this. But it's just not, it's not the end all be all. So I like contests for that. Competitive attitudes push you towards like greater feats, and I'm interested in the greater feats. Like I want to see the next trick come out just as badly as everybody else. I want to see who's doing it. I want it to be a dude I like. I want it to be a kind of trick that I like on a spot that I really enjoy. And I think the competitive nature, competitive attitudes help us get there. It's just that in a contest, it's like it doesn't help. It's the wrong outlet. People just keep doing kickflip back tails and they stop there. So that's what, I want to see people getting competitive and then hucking, or getting competitive and then 180ing out the wrong way or whatever. So I think, yeah, I love the competitive nature.